Hello everyone, and welcome back to Easy English Hub. Today, we're embarking on an interstellar journey to explore vocabulary about the universe. We'll break down each term with detailed explanations and examples. Let's get started. Let's begin with the biggest concept, the universe. The universe is the name for everything that exists. This includes all of space and all of time. It also includes all matter, like planets and stars. And it includes all forms of energy. Think of it as the ultimate container for everything. It's so vast, it's almost impossible to imagine its true size. Here's a common example. Scientists are trying to understand the origin of the universe. You would hear this sentence in a documentary or a science class. It addresses the fundamental questions of our existence. You might also say something more casual, like, I wonder what else is out there in the universe. Now let's zoom into a galaxy. A galaxy is a gigantic system of stars, stellar remnants, interstellar gas, dust, and dark matter. All these components are bound together by gravity. Think of a galaxy as a massive city of stars. There are billions of galaxies in the observable universe. Our own galaxy has a special name. For example, our solar system is just a tiny part of the Milky Way galaxy. This sentence is great for putting our home into perspective. It shows how small we are in the grand scheme of things. You use it to explain our cosmic address. Let's focus on our local neighborhood, the solar system. A solar system is a star and all the objects that travel in orbit around it. These objects include planets, moons, asteroids, and comets. Our solar system is centered around our star, the Sun. All 8 planets in our system follow a path around the Sun. For example, you could say, Voyager 1 is the first spacecraft to leave the solar system. This sentence is used when discussing space exploration and its milestones. It highlights a significant achievement in human history. Within the solar system, we have planets. A planet is a large celestial body that orbits a star. It must be large enough for its own gravity to make it round. It must also have cleared its orbital path of other debris. That's the official scientific definition. For example, Mars is known as the red planet because of its rusty color. This is a common fact you can use to describe Mars. You could also ask a question like, which planet would you most like to visit? This is a great conversation starter about space. It allows people to share their imagination and dreams. Let's talk about the jewels of the night sky, stars. A star is a massive, luminous ball of hot gas, mostly hydrogen and helium. Stars produce their own light and heat through nuclear fusion in their cores. Our Sun is a very ordinary, medium-sized star. Some stars are much larger, and some are much smaller. At night, they look like tiny points of light because they are extremely far away. For instance, the North Star has been used for navigation for centuries. This is a practical, historical use of the word. It connects astronomy to human exploration on Earth. Groups of stars can form a constellation. A constellation is a group of visible stars that form a pattern when viewed from Earth. These patterns are often named after mythological characters, animals, or objects. For example, Orion is the hunter, and Ursa Major is the great bear. These patterns help us organize the night sky. For example, my favorite constellation to find in the winter is Orion. This is a personal and common way to talk about stargazing as a hobby. You can use it to share your own experiences with the night sky. Now for some dramatic cosmic events. Let's start with a supernova. A supernova is the spectacular, powerful explosion of a star. This happens at the end of the life of a massive star. For a short time, a supernova can outshine its entire galaxy. These explosions create and spread heavy elements across space. Elements like iron and gold were forged in supernovae. So, in a way, we are made of stardust from these events. For example, the 1054 supernova created the Crab Nebula. This is a specific, historical example used in astronomy. It links a past event to a currently observable object. Next, let's discuss a black hole. A black hole is a region of spacetime with incredibly strong gravity. The gravitational pull is so immense that nothing can escape. Not even light, the fastest thing in the universe, can get out. That's why it's called a black hole. They are formed when a very massive star collapses in on itself. For example, scientists believe there is a supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. This is a common theory in modern astrophysics. You would hear it in news about scientific discoveries. Let's talk about space travel. The key person is the astronaut. An astronaut is a person trained by a human spaceflight program. Their job is to command, pilot, or serve as a crew member of a spacecraft. They undergo years of intense physical and mental training. The word comes from Greek words meaning star sailor. For example, Neil Armstrong was the first astronaut to walk on the moon. This is a famous historical fact everyone knows. It's a perfect example of the role of an astronaut. You could also say, the astronauts are conducting an experiment in zero gravity. This describes the daily work they might do in space. Astronauts travel in a spaceship or spacecraft. These terms are often used interchangeably. A spacecraft is any vehicle designed for travel in outer space. This can range from a small satellite to a large space station. A spaceship is often imagined as a vehicle for transporting a crew. For example, the spaceship is scheduled to launch next Tuesday. This is a practical sentence you'd hear in news reports about a mission. It's about the logistics of space travel. Let's learn two important actions. The first is to launch. To launch means to set a rocket or spacecraft in motion. It involves a powerful liftoff from the ground. This action marks the beginning of every space mission. The countdown is a famous part of any launch sequence. 10, 9, 8, and so on. For example, NASA will launch its new rocket to the moon. This is a typical headline or news statement. It announces a future plan or event. After launch, a spacecraft enters an orbit. An orbit is the curved path an object takes around another object due to gravity. For example, the Earth is in orbit around the Sun. The Moon is in orbit around the Earth. Artificial satellites are also placed in orbit around Earth. This path is a continuous, stable loop. Here's an example sentence. The International Space Station completes one orbit of Earth every 90 minutes. This gives a sense of the incredible speed involved. It's a factual statement used to describe how satellites move. Let's learn some useful idioms related to space. First, over the moon. If you are over the moon, you are extremely happy or delighted. It has nothing to do with actually being on the moon. It's just an expression to show great joy. Imagine being so happy you could jump over the moon. For example, she was over the moon when she won the award. You use this to describe someone's intense happiness about good news. Another great idiom is to reach for the stars. This phrase means to set very high goals for yourself. It means to be very ambitious and aim for great things. You are not literally trying to touch the stars. It's a metaphor for aiming for success. For example, my parents always encouraged me to reach for the stars. This is a common phrase used to give encouragement. It tells someone to believe in themselves and pursue their biggest dreams. Finally, let's cover two essential tools for astronomy. First, the telescope. A telescope is an optical instrument. It is designed to make distant objects appear nearer. It does this by collecting light with lenses or mirrors. There are ground-based telescopes and space-based telescopes, like Hubble. They are our eyes on the universe. For example, through the telescope, we could clearly see the rings of Saturn. This describes a direct experience of using a telescope. It shows how the tool enhances our vision. Next is the satellite. A satellite is an object that orbits a larger object in space. The Moon is a natural satellite of Earth, but we usually use the word to mean an artificial satellite. These are machines launched into orbit by humans. They have many jobs: communication, weather forecasting, GPS, and scientific research. For example, the weather forecast comes from a satellite in orbit. This connects a piece of advanced technology to our daily lives. It shows the practical benefit of space technology. That's all for our cosmic journey today. We hope you learned some stellar new words and feel more confident using them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more lessons from Easy English Hub. Keep reaching for the stars in your English learning journey. See you next time.